What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Islam Makhachev arrived in the United Arab Emirates, where he and his team were greeted with a warm and celebratory welcome following his historic achievement as a two-division champion. The moment he stepped off the plane, fans and officials were waiting, cheering, taking photos, and showing their appreciation for what he accomplished. It was a proud scene, filled with energy, as people gathered to honor the new champion who had just made history. Supporters surrounded him, congratulating him and celebrating the significance of his victory. For Islam, it was a powerful reminder of how much his success means not only to his team, but to the entire region. The atmosphere was emotional and uplifting, reflecting the respect and admiration he has earned through years of discipline, skill, and unwavering commitment. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Coach John Kavanagh opened up about JDM's reaction to his loss against Islam Makhachev at UFC 322, giving a clearer picture of what happened behind the scenes. Speaking with Ariel Helwani, Kavanagh explained that he had spent time with JDM the previous night, and during their conversation, JDM admitted he was genuinely shocked by Islam's power. Kavanagh highlighted that the jump in weight was a huge factor, pointing out that moving from 145 to 155 is already a 10-pound difference, but going from 155 to 170 is an even bigger leap. He emphasized how impressive it was for Islam to perform the way he did against such a skilled opponent while moving up in weight. Kavanagh described JDM as a big, strong guy, someone who usually holds his own physically, but even he couldn't hide how surprised he was by Islam's strength and ability to generate power. According to Kavanagh, JDM said it himself, he didn't expect that level of impact. It wasn't just technique, it was a kind of pressure and physicality that truly caught him off guard. When asked how JDM was handling the loss, Kavanagh admitted there's not much anyone can say to make a fighter feel better in moments like this. The frustration and disappointment were still fresh, and JDM was clearly bummed about how things played out. Even last night, Kavanagh noted he could see that JDM was still down, still processing everything, and still feeling the weight of the defeat. Despite that, there were small positives around him. His wife was with him, his kids were by his side, and those familiar anchors were helping him slowly steady himself. Kavanagh believes that with time, support, and the mindset JDM already possesses, he'll pick himself back up. Losses hit hard, especially on big stages like UFC 322, but fighters like JDM are built to push forward, learn from the moment, and return stronger. Moving on to another news, Coach John Kavanagh has given a clearer and more detailed update on Conor's long-awaited return, explaining exactly where things stand and how committed Conor is to making that walk again. Kavanagh said that Conor is fully back in the gym, showing up early most mornings, and has already told him to map out a full training program from now until June to prepare for the UFC White House event. According to Kavanagh, their side is 100% locked in, and Conor is genuinely enjoying the grind again. He added that after the show on Saturday night, Conor sent him a bunch of messages, fired up, saying he wants to fight everybody, but the priority is clear. He wants to be on that massive card. Kavanagh explained that the logistical side, the negotiations, and the management details are not his domain, so he stays out of those conversations. But when it comes to pure preparation, Conor has already tasked him with assembling a solid group of training partners and structuring the next several months of work. Some of the sessions will take place in the gym and others inside Conor's home, just like they've done during earlier camps. The mindset, according to Kavanagh, is already switched on. Conor is approaching this return with the attitude that he will be walking out in 6 to 7 months. When asked if he truly believes the comeback is happening, Kavanagh made it clear that if the decision rests solely on Conor, then yes, it's absolutely happening. Conor is motivated, focused, and ready to push through the long buildup required to return at the level he expects from himself. Kavanagh mentioned that during the last attempted comeback, they were incredibly close to making it happen. The preparations were in place, the energy was there, and Conor was deep into training until things fell apart at the last minute. This time though, there's a different sense of momentum, a more locked-in version of Conor who seems determined to make the walk no matter what. Kavanagh finished by saying that as far as he can tell, Conor's drive is back and the spark is still very much alive. Moving on to another news, Bisping and Paul Felder broke down what they believe happened mentally to JDM during his fight with Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. On their latest episode of the Believe You Me podcast, both analysts agreed that JDM looked mentally defeated long before the fight was officially over. Bisping explained explained that going into the matchup, he initially thought JDM had a real chance, especially after seeing how he handled the Belal Muhammad fight, but everything changed once Islam began applying pressure. Bisping said Islam completely shut him down, describing the performance as one-way traffic, pure domination, and the kind of control that leaves a fighter with no answers. He mentioned feeling genuinely bad for JDM because even between rounds, the frustration was clear. JDM's corner kept telling him to stop staying in half guard, to push forward, to get aggressive, but nothing seemed to click. Bisping recalled that JDM just stared back at them, looking drained and emotionally overwhelmed. Felder added that this wasn't about toughness. JDM has heart, he's durable, and he wasn't gonna quit on himself, but there are moments in a fight where you realize you simply can't do anything. Felder explained that after round 1 or round 2, JDM must have felt the weight of the situation settling in, thinking, this is what the next 25 minutes will be. Every second spent on the ground meant fighting off submissions, avoiding getting choked, and constantly struggling to create space against a fighter who gives you none. Then there was the striking pressure. Felder pointed out that when JDM finally got to his feet, his calf was already compromised from the heavy kicks Islam landed early. That kind of damage changes your movement, your reactions, and your confidence. Both Bisping and Felder agreed that by the halfway mark, JDM looked distraught. It wasn't weakness, they said, but the reality of facing a champion who can break you mentally long before the final horn. Moving on to another news, Jorge Masvidal shared a wild story on his podcast about what happened the night Dillon Danis was beaten up at UFC 322. Masvidal said he was actually on his way to confront Danis himself after receiving several disrespectful messages. He explained that he had already made up his mind that they needed to see each other and settle things face to face, but before he could even get close, someone else got to Danis first, Chanco, also known as John Pork. Masvidal said that as he was walking from the VIP room toward his seat, he ran right into Chanco, who looked calm, almost too calm, considering the chaos happening nearby. Masvidal greeted him, asked what was going on, and immediately noticed Chanco's hands were covered in blood. When Masvidal pointed it out, Chanco brushed it off, saying everything was fine and calling it a little problem he had taken care of. Masvidal laughed about it, took a quick picture with him, and kept moving toward the arena. But before he could even reach the stands, UFC staff rushed him, telling him not to move and demanding to know what he had just done. Masvidal said they grabbed him, held him in place, and acted like he was the one involved in the altercation. He insisted he had literally just arrived, but the staff didn't believe him at first. Fortunately, Masvidal explained that the UFC always assigns him 2 security guards. He jokingly called them glorified babysitters to stick by him at every event. Those guards immediately vouched for him, saying he had been with them the entire time and hadn't done anything. Only then did the UFC staff back off. Masvidal said he wished he had gotten there earlier, because by the time he reached the main arena, all the good fun was taken away. Dillon Danis had already been beaten up, kicked in the face, humiliated, and literally dragged out before being banned. Masvidal joked that the Muslim Brotherhood beat him to it and stole the moment from him. In the end, he shrugged it off, saying it sucked for Danis, but the whole situation had already been handled before he even had a chance to get involved. Moving on to another news, Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley gave their own comedic yet detailed breakdown of the chaos involving Khabib's team and Dillon Danis at UFC 322. After years of trash talk from Danis, tensions finally exploded, and the incident quickly became one of the most talked about moments of the entire event. During their recap, Welch and O'Malley walked fans through exactly how things unfolded and why the situation escalated the way it did. They joked that there was actually another TKO that night, referring to the moment John Pork supposedly dropped Dillon Danis in what they described as a bizarre but hilarious exchange. According to them, Danis was bent over in an odd stance, and John Pork came up behind him and started unloading strikes. They exaggerated the moment by saying he juiced him several times before Danis dropped to the floor. They joked that Danis fell back air kicking, throwing wheel kicks while completely out of it, with his red Nike spinning through the air in slow motion. They continued the playful breakdown by saying that once Danis was helped out of the scene, the official TKO had already been secured by John Pork. The two added that if anyone ever finds themselves in New York, they should check in with John Pork, almost turning him into a mythical street-level enforcer. The segment ended with Welch giving a humorous demonstration of how someone could theoretically replicate what happened to Danis. He emphasized that you shouldn't do this to someone innocent, but if it's Danis, then it's fair game in their joking tone. He explained that you'd walk behind him, hit him right on the ear hole, then follow up with an uppercut since he still can't see where the strikes are coming from. He joked that as soon as Danis gets gets touched, he'll pull guard immediately, flailing with triangles and omoplatas, while you simply stay clear and wait for the TKO to be awarded. The entire segment was delivered with humor, exaggeration, and the classic O'Malley Welch blend of trolling, all while recapping one of the wildest moments connected to UFC 322. Moving on to another news, it appears that Khamzat has officially buried the hatchet with Team Khabib. While Khamzat and Khabib were never true enemies, their brief rivalry drew plenty of attention before being quickly settled through the influence of Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov. Now, with Khamzat's latest social media post, it seems he's making a clear effort to strengthen a relationship that had once been strained. Just 2 days after Islam's dominant welterweight title win over JDM at UFC 322, Khamzat posted a photo on Instagram that immediately caught the MMA world's attention. The caption read, "The wolf and the eagle are not always close, but when you need to protect the mountains, they will always protect them together." It was a symbolic message, one that hinted at unity, loyalty, and a renewed bond between two of the most influential forces in modern MMA. Fans were quick to react, noting how the tone of the message reflected not just respect, but also a sense of shared purpose between Khamzat and Team Khabib. Their dynamic over the years has ranged from competitive tension to mutual admiration, yet this moment felt like a definitive shift toward long-term alignment. The timing of the post, coming right after Islam's emphatic performance, only amplified its meaning. To many, it signaled that the wolf and the eagle, regardless of past disagreements, stand together when it matters most. It was a statement of unity that resonated throughout the community, reminding everyone that despite rivalries or misunderstandings, certain bonds run deeper than the sport itself. Moving on to another news, questions are now emerging about whether JDM might have been dealing with an injury during his fight at UFC 322. Johnson believes he has a solid idea of why JDM was making unusual faces throughout the bout. In a recent UFC 322 breakdown on YouTube, Mighty Mouse explained that fighters often grimace during certain exchanges, especially when absorbing shots or defending against pressure. However, what stood out to him was that JDM appeared to be grimacing almost the entire fight, and that in Johnson's view, strongly suggests something was off during his matchup with Islam. As the fight unfolded, Johnson pointed out small but repeated details that hinted at discomfort. Each time JDM got taken down or pressured, the same strained look flashed across his face. Johnson broke down a sequence where Islam secured another takedown, saying, "Once again he lands. You know, the only thing that you can do in this position is accept that you got taken down. But scoot. Sorry, my arrows are bad. But scoop. Go to your back. Get your hands directly on his face and start creating distance. Start creating a frame to be able to give yourself a chance to get back up." But right as he demonstrated the technique, he stopped and highlighted JDM's expression. The grimace returned, almost involuntarily, and Johnson said it made him feel like something wasn't right. He added that throughout the entire fight, the same look appeared over and over again, which made him question whether JDM was truly at 100% on fight night. Johnson admitted he could be wrong, as fighters sometimes react in unexpected ways under high-pressure championship moments. Yet for him, the consistency of the expression told a different story. The more he watched, the more convinced he became that JDM was battling more than just Islam's skill and pressure. The constant grimacing, especially during movements that normally wouldn't cause such reactions, made Johnson believe JDM was likely dealing with an injury that limited his performance and made the fight far more difficult than it already was.